So many of you know have heard about this story about Rohan's story. He was one of the first few people to get affected by COVID when there was nothing available, and so his survival was and recovery was a miracle. And we want to hear the story from directly from him. And so go ahead, Rohan. Okay, you can start, and then again he will tell the story, and then you can ask questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Shrikant Kaka. Hello, everyone. My name is Rohan Bavadekar. As Shrikant Kaka said, uh, I was one of the first people within the not only the Maharashtrian community in North America, but the Indian community uh, to be infected with COVID back in March of 2020. And at that time, there was everything was unknown about COVID, and my case was uh, uh, pretty famous at that time. And the recovery that has happened, the fact that I recovered, and the extent of recovery till now can be called a medical marvel. And uh, a lot of people, they don't know what exactly happened, what the family went through, what I went through for those 4 or 5 months. And just to get to give you a brief idea, so I was infected with COVID. I was intubated, and I was put on life support. So most of my organs had started failing at that time. Uh, and I had to be airlifted from one of the suburban hospitals to St. Luke's Hospital in the Texas Medical Center in Houston at that time. Basically, I used to travel for work to and from Houston to Virginia. And back in March of 2020, I had traveled from Virginia to Houston via New York. And at that time, I probably got infected with COVID, and my case deteriorated like it fell off a cliff, and I was put on a ventilator. So during that time, I was on ventilator for 89 days. I was on ECMO for 42 days, which is 6 weeks. I was on dialysis for 51 days. I was in the acute care hospital for 81 days. That's nearly 3 months. I had a tracheostomy done, gastros tube put on into my body for nearly 2 months, 63 days to be precise. Um, and then I went through rehab for nearly 3 weeks. Uh, I had two cardiac arrests. The first cardiac arrest lasted for 2 minutes. The second cardiac arrest lasted for 12 minutes, meaning the doctors did not have a heartbeat the first time for 2 minutes, and on the same day for 12 minutes, they did not have a heartbeat. There was a flat line. They did not give up. They kept giving CPR to me, and they were able to revive me at that time. Meanwhile, when I was on ventilator, I had suffered a stroke also. And as I said, dialysis for almost 2 months. So the fact that I am alive is a miracle in itself. How many people do we know who have been revived twice on the same day? And after a 12-minute standstill, so that is what happened to me. Me and my wife, we decided to print our story on paper, and all these things we have chronicled in the book that we have co-authored. The book is called Cheating COVID. Uh, I don't know if you guys can see it now, but it is available on Amazon. I would recommend uh, each and everyone to read it because it is a story of positivity, of tenacity, of the hope, prayer, the power of prayers, and having a positive attitude. All these qualities, can be seen in my wife Manasi, a little bit of them in me, but my wife Manasi and the kids, three kids, they were the ones who went through all the pain and suffering. And looking at them, it gave me the strength to fight and come out of it. And having said that, none of this would have been possible without the support of the medical staff, the doctors, the nurses, the paramedics. And that is the reason, the book, the first page, we have mentioned that we have dedicated the book to all the healthcare workers around the world who are working tirelessly to save lives. Because whatever the common people went through, the medical professionals, the doctors, nurses, they went through day in, day out, night in, night out for 2 years. I know some of the nurses, some of the doctors, they took a sabbatical from work. Some of the nurses, they got themselves transferred from the cardiac ICU to some other department just because they couldn't take the stress no more. That doesn't mean they don't like their profession or they don't care about the people, but they just, they didn't want to put someone else's life in risk when they are not focused. Having said that, my case has been noticed by a lot of people in the media. We had a few interviews. I don't know if Mr. Sabnis shared the links with you. We had an interview on NTV America, which happened a few months ago. And uh, me and Manasi, we had an interview on our Fox TV because the case was so appealing, not only to the Indian community, but to the entire local community, the Estonian community, and the American community, that they featured a story. If you guys don't have access to it, I will be happy to share the links for that. But overall, for 2 years.
I have shared the links.
Okay.
When I send the information about your talk, I
Okay.
share links, but you can just if there is time, then we can play those recordings also later.
Okay. Sure. Um, so that is it. And um, the story, when I fell sick, there was a plasma drive that was organized by Manasi and her brother Bhushan. At that time, there was a public funding drive also. And a lot of things were unknown about us. Like people were questioning what happened to him at that time, whether he recovered, how is he doing now? So this book will give people a sense, a perspective of what is going on currently, and also what the family went through, the pressure that they were dealing with, how Manasi dealt with it. All of them were also COVID positive. The kids, herself, she was sick too. I suffered the most. I was on life support for so long. So recently as well, I was felicitated for my book at the BMM Marathi Convention in New Jersey. So it is an interesting story and a positive message for everyone, whether it's Indian or non-Indian, American, European, everyone. So if you guys have any questions or any thoughts, please feel free to share them with me. Thank you for giving me the time.
Rohan, how are you feeling now? Compared to before COVID and now.
I am feeling good. For most part, I still do have long hauler symptoms, as they call it, like the lingering effects, especially with regards to my respiratory system, and a little bit about mm, uh, mental health as well. Mental health, I'm doing fine. Otherwise, sometimes I tend to lose patience or get agitated over small things. I tend to lose focus. But other than that, I'm doing fine mentally. I try to keep a positive approach to things every day. That's what I would recommend to people of all ages. You know, when there has been definite improvement, like my lungs and heart have been affected. Um, but I'm taking it with a glass half full kind of approach. When I stepped inside my home from the hospital, I'll give you an example. My lung capacity was at 33%, and I was at a risk of, uh, I was a candidate for lung transplant. But now, after 2 years, my lung capacity has grown to 46 or 47%. So there has definitely been an improvement. I don't know if there could have been more improvement, or um, there would have been no improvement, because till then COVID was an unknown, and there has been lung damage, uh, and theoretically, lung damage or scarring is irreversible. You cannot reverse it. But they have seen an improvement in me. I try to exercise regularly, go for a walk, or do yoga. Uh, some of the exercises Srikan Kaka has told me, I try to do them as much as I can. So these are things I try to follow. My heart was not in good shape when I came home. My heart pumping capacity was at 25 now, but I was put on strong medication. I was put on statin drugs that used to cause me weakness, fatigue, but that has improved my lung functioning to 60. The normal threshold is between 50 and 70 for a normal person. So I am close to normal there. I try to follow doctor's advice. Um, you know, Never miss any medication dose. That is the first thing that I need to follow, and I try to follow. It is hard for me, I am being honest, to avoid fried food, but I try to control the portion as much as I can. One thing that I would recommend to people of any age, I will give a message that the reason why my lungs and heart have been able to recover after having suffered so much, one thing I can assure you is till now, I haven't had even a single puff of cigarette smoke. That has probably been one of the main important things that I follow. And I want to give the message not only to my kids, but to kids, your kids, or anyone else's kids, or even grown ups. Try to take care of your lungs and heart. Avoid smoking as much as you can. Try to exercise regularly, and of course, listen to the spouse. That is a message that I want to give. And also one thing I want to add, like I mentioned, back then I was on dialysis. Even now, my kidneys are working perfectly fine. That's because I follow another important piece of advice that the doctors gave me is that always be hydrated. Keep yourself hydrated, no matter what the weather condition is outside or whatever you're feeling. Always keep a bottle of water near your hand. So that is an advice that I want to give to everyone.
So
I have a question.
go ahead, Anjali.
Were you, were you able to take the vaccination once it was available or no?
Yes, yes. I was recommended
Mm-hmm.
since I had all these prior uh, hospitalizations and illnesses.
Mm-hmm.
They did recommend me to take the vaccines, and I have been double boosted as well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so after the vaccines, I think everyone who took the vaccine had maybe some headache or something discomfort initially. That happened to me also, but the vaccine definitely was recommended to me.
So were you the first one to get the vaccine? Because I hear you saying, like, let's say hypothetically, from April to May, June, July, you recovered and came home.
Yes,
So from July through December, because common person, we all didn't get the vaccine until January. So my question to you, were you on the top of the list to get the
I was.
vaccination
I
once
was.
it was?
Yes, I was on top of the list. I got my vaccine in January of
Mm-hmm.
2021
Mm-hmm.
when they started giving the
Mm-hmm.
vaccines to
Correct.
uh, you know uh, whoever had comorbidities or prior pre-existing conditions. So I was one of them.
And same thing must be for your family members.
Uh, no, actually, my kids they were not eligible, of course, at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife she got the vaccine later on. I think
Mm-hmm.
uh, after 3 4 months.
What do you think in your own mind after all this research or after the 9 months uh, rigmarole going around, like what is causing this disease? What, in your opinion, was it your um, pre-existing condition, which is you were a smoker, I believe you said. So was that the cause, or you're traveling because of the work, or what was the reason that you got such a severe case?
In fact, I was a non-smoker. I had not even had a single cigarette in my life.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I
Thank
said.
you.
That
Thank you
has,
for telling us.
yeah, that's what I said. I had not even had a single puff of smoke
Mhm.
in my entire life. That is the probably one of the main things that helped me in my recovery after I
Correct.
came home. Having said that, the reason for why I fell sick so severely,
Mhm.
uh, nobody has a definite answer. There was, see, the thing is, at that time there was not much information available.
Mhm.
Not much treatment methods were known.
Mhm.
Initially, I'll tell you, they diagnosed me as having pneumonia. So they thought that it
Oh.
was pneumonia symptoms. But my health uh, deteriorated so rapidly within 2 3 days. I had
Mhm.
to be intubated. I had to be moved to a neighborhood, I mean, a suburban hospital. That's because all my organs had started to fail. My pneumonia or whatever they thought was
Mhm.
pneumonia at that time, it got worse. My kidneys started failing.
Mhm.
And at that time, around March, April, beginning time frame, not much information was available.
Right.
So I'll give you another example. Like even last week, we had another event where we met with some of the doctors who had attended to my case at that time.
Mhm.
And I just asked them a simple question like, in their opinion, I was given experimental plasma treatment, plasma
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
transfusion at that time. I asked them if the plasma helped me at all.
Mm-hmm.
Till till they did not have a definite answer. They said we don't know. There were they did say that there were some parameters that they were looking at that
Mm-hmm.
improved dramatically, but it didn't mean that it helped my COVID case at that time. I still
Mm-hmm.
remained COVID positive even after getting the plasma. I was COVID positive for nearly a month.
Oh.
Tested positive. So there's still some unknowns. So it is hard. When I was in rehab, I'll tell you another example. I asked, you know, one of the therapists, one of the doctors, and they said that now they were saying that it may have something to do with the blood type. Like,
Huh.
yeah. So at that time, they were saying majority of the cases that were found to be positive and severe cases, they were of the same blood type that I had. So just putting the pieces of the puzzle together,
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
can probably draw a conclusion that it was due to the blood type, but not a definite answer at that time.
Correct. Pardon me, but I didn't catch the name of your book. If you can repeat, please, I really would appreciate.
Yeah, the name of my book is Cheating COVID. Uh,
Cheating. I
Cheating
forgot the
COVID.
word cheating. I
Yeah,
remember
Cheating
it
COVID.
was COVID. Okay, great. Thank you.
And it is available on Amazon also, and for Prime members, of course.
And is it on the audio
I beg
book?
your pardon.
Is it on the
I
audio book?
I am not sure. I don't think it is available on audiobook. So
Maybe you should put that in your own voice as audio book and make money on it too.
okay, I mean that's a good suggestion. I'll definitely
Yeah.
talk to the publisher about it, about getting an audiobook released for that.
Let
Uh,
me ask you another question
sure.
about your second book. Are you going to put your experiences within that 12 minutes? What did you experience when you were not breathing? You were flatlined.
I beg your pardon. I didn't hear your question. What was that?
I'm just suggesting your second book. Are you going to write the experiences that you went through, if you did any, during that 12 minutes of flatline?
I wish I could write a book and for those 12 minutes,
Mhm.
what I but unfortunately, I'll tell you one thing.
Mhm.
I do not remember any of what happened during my ventilator stay. When I woke up in the
Oh.
hospital, I had no idea that I was out on coma for 6 weeks or 2 months, whatever. I was thinking, I'll tell you a funny story. When I woke up, uh, I thought that it was just 5 or 6 days that I was in the hospital, and I used to get frustrated with my wife, asking her, "Why am I still here? Why are you not taking me home? Do you not want me to come home?" I used to ask her out of frustration, whereas the reality was 180 degrees away from that. But in fact, when I came home, she asked me, "What is the last thing that you remember?" I told her the last thing I remember was lying in bed, being very sick and then sleeping. That's all I remember. She said that you don't remember that you coughed up blood that night. I said, no, I don't remember. She asked me, don't you remember that you actually walked to the ambulance that I had called when I saw your blood? I
Oh
said,
my God.
yeah, I had coughed up blood. And that's when she said, that's it, you
No,
need to.
but you walked to the ambulance.
Yes, I actually walked to the ambulance. I don't remember any of that.
I know it's not funny, but I just feel like, oh, that
Yeah,
is weirdest thing.
yes, yes. No, I mean, uh, so I don't remember any of that. She in fact told me that I had driven, even before I walked to the ambulance, the evening before that I had driven to the nearby Walmart pharmacy to pick up my prescription. I don't remember any of that. So
Hey, at least you didn't tell the ambulance guy that, oh, let me get my car keys, I will follow you. I know
no,
it's not funny,
no,
but
I mean,
it's just amazing that how certain things we don't remember in
yes,
those moments.
yeah, definitely.
So,
But actually, I'll tell you, when I was in rehab, after I
mhm.
came out of hospital, I was going through rehab therapy. I was able to talk a little bit. My tubes had come out at that time. So my wife asked me, uh, you know, do you remember any of your dreams that you had in hospital?
Good.
So I told her, I don't remember exactly, but there were times, I remembered, I had a dream like, I was on a beach, having a drink, or I was playing, now you may call me crazy, but I had a dream that, I was playing cricket, with famous cricketer like Kapil Dev. I went to watch a tennis game. I was having a party. I met my grandpa. My grandfather passed away in 1999, but I told her that I had a dream that I met him. My wife said probably that was the time that you had your cardiac arrest, and
Oh,
yeah, she said that maybe your soul was wandering, maybe
mhm.
you were in a happy place.
You were blessed by him.
Maybe exactly. She said
Mhm.
the exact same thing that maybe he was watching over you as an
Mhm.
angel. Who knows?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, you know,
No,
um,
I was just curious about those 12 minutes because lot of people do experience something which is supernatural,
yes,
or some with your own, um, what I would say, with your spiritual connections, whatever you may have within you before you even suffered any of this. We all do have a dreams, but not necessarily as significant as what you might experience in those 12 minutes. So I was just curious. That's all.
no worries,
But
no worries.
thank you for giving me all this information, all of us. I will definitely take out the book and read it.
Sure, sure.
So,
Thank
Anjali, again, if anybody else has questions, and again, you can come back, Anjali, later on. And if you,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm
you. Yeah,
sorry, I
anybody
took up
can
more
ask
time.
questions. Yes,
so from the group, if anybody else has any questions, please feel free to, unmute yourself and ask question. Thank you, Anjali, for the more detailed questions.
I mean, it just because of being on the yoga platform, I was curious about if I'm going to hear more about those 12 minutes that were kind of um, spiritually high situations.
Let me just show
Mm.
the book
Oh,
cover.
yes.
I'll
Correct.
just put a link to the book uh, in our chat
Mm.
here,
Mm.
so anyone can go on that. And see, one thing, it's not like a spiritual message or anything, but one thing I would tell people, or people of any generation, whether it's kids or grown-ups, you know, uh, a lot of times, we uh, try to ask a question by while doing something. What is in it for me? इसमें मेरा क्या
Mm.
फायदा? Those kind of
Mm.
things. So one thing, I would recommend or suggest, to follow your parents or grandparents, follow the
Mm.
way of life that they followed, the way of righteousness, doing the
Mm.
right thing, being true to yourself, being honest. People ask me like, now you can ask, did we strike a lottery? No, we have not won a lottery. We still have bills to pay. I still have to go to work. But you can ask my kids whether they won a lottery. They will say yes because they have their dad with them. I did I win a lottery physically? Did I win $1 million? No, but I am able to recover from my illness. I am able to work at my job after suffering a stroke, two cardiac arrests. That it depends on perspective. You have to look at it from a positive perspective, from the right way. Where yeah, I did win a lottery in a way. So uh, that's what I would tell everyone. Anybody else? Okay, someone has asked a question. How do you supplement your unrecovered part of lung capacity? See, there is no definite answer uh, to whether how much my lung capacity will be recovered, whether it will recover fully or not. But the day I came from hospital, my pulmonologist, my cardiologist, they all suggested that I was still undergoing physiotherapy, but they asked me to push myself a little bit. I'll give you an example. Like a month or so after I had come home, Manasi asked me, "Do you want to try if you can climb the stairs?" The stairs are almost like 16 or 17 steps. So I said, "Yeah, I can try." She said, "Okay. And if you feel short of breath or if you don't want to go further," she kept a chair around the eighth or ninth step in the middle where there is a slight plateau. She kept a chair and she said, "Anytime you feel like stopping, you can sit on the chair." I said, "Okay." But when I started climbing the chairs, I took one step at a time. And even after I went near the chair, I thought, hey, I can still go a bit further. So I took another step, then another step. And by the time I found out, I had climbed the entire staircase at one go without stopping. So I pushed myself a little bit. And every step that I took, I was pushing myself. So that is the message that I want to give. Everything that I did, like when I started walking, I decided to use, they had given me a walker, but I decided to use it as less as possible so I could push myself. That is the reason, you can see that my lung capacity is now at 46 or 47% from 33%. I don't know if how much it will be, whether it will be 50 or 60 or 70, who knows. But the fact now they have ruled me out of contention for a lung transplant is another plus in itself, because people who get a lung transplant, their lifespan gets limited. So as of now, I don't need a lung transplant, which in itself is a positive thing. So uh, yeah, so far so good, but I don't know if there is a limit or not. There is no limit to thinking positively and pushing yourself to do exercise.
So, do you follow any specific diet?
Uh, I try to eat as much protein as I can. I have not eaten French fries since I came home. That is a big accomplishment for me. If you can ask my wife how much big deal that is for me. So try to limit the fried food as much as possible. Protein is what is recommended to me by the doctors, and take medications regularly without missing anything. I know it is hard for me to accept because some of the medications that I am taking, there is no way an average 40, 45-year-old needs that medication. Usually people over 60 or 70 take medication like statins or blood pressure medication, things like that. But I don't need any of that. But I need to take those. I don't need to skip any of that. That's what I meant.
So I think there are some questions.
So they are asking me medications. So I am taking low dose aspirin. Uh, I'll type but I would not recommend them until you speak to a doctor. So I take low dose aspirin as a blood thinner. I used to take prescription blood thinner before, but they reduced that to low dose aspirin. And then I take statin because I have a history of cardiac arrest now. So to keep that. And then I am taking a medication, prescription medication for my heart failure that avoids, that help me increase my heart pumping capacity. I'm still taking that. It is a prescription medication. Uh, so that is one thing that I'm taking. So someone, hey, Sachin Apte is here. Hi, Sachin.
Hey, how are you? Nice to
I'm
see you.
doing well. Yeah, nice to meet you again. Yeah. So your question is for my wife. My wife is not here, but you're saying, yeah, she went through a difficult time tackling the kids. What is her advice to anybody to stay positive? She probably had to take some tough decisions. How did she come up with the right answer every time? I'll tell you one thing. She just went with her gut feeling and saying a prayer. You know, when I was in the suburban hospital at, in the first week, uh, uh, all my organs had started failing. And in that hospital, dialysis was not available on a daily basis. I could only get dialysis for 3 days a week, but my kidneys were failing rapidly. So I had to be put on ECMO. They did not have ECMO facility there, and I had to be airlifted to another hospital. The doctor in charge there actually begged with my wife not to transfer me. Uh, and he said that in the transfer process itself, he's going to die. But she just said that, if he stays in your hospital, he's not going to come out alive anyways. But having had to airlift him to another hospital, would give him at least a 1% chance. Even if not even a 1% chance, let's take that chance. And she just threw a prayer and said yes to the transfer. The second thing, the doctor, he begged her to sign a DNR form. A DNR form is a do not resuscitate form, where, in case of a cardiac arrest, they need not revive, they do not give a CPR to the patient. He pleaded with her to sign that form because, of course, they don't want the liability. She said, nothing doing, you will give him CPR for as many times as he needs it, for as long as he needs it. And after 3-4 weeks, that time did came. She went with her gut feeling, with a prayer, and uh, the divine helped her. That's all.
High five to her.
I will tell you that whoever will read that story, uh, you know, uh, she is the hero of the story. I am just like that. You can call me, for people who watch cricket, I am like that number 11 batsman. I just hung in there. She is the one who took all the decisions. She is the one who, pulled the family through, the kids through, made them prayed for me herself, day in, day out. So um,
If I take out the book, does it have your email address if we want to respond to your all these things?
It does not have my email address, but I can
Oh,
type my email
okay.
address
Okay. Thank
here
you.
so you can get it. And I'll give Manasi's email address as well. So you guys can message her also.
Okay. Thank you.
No.
I have one question.
Yes.
My name is Chandra Ranade. I live in Washington area,
Hello, sir.
and I have seen a couple of cases not really related to COVID, but something similar to you experienced.
Okay.
I mean, near a death experience. That at some point you might have felt that you will not survive, right?
Yes.
So I think you met somebody who faced something similar
I
to
have
you
not
and shared his experience with you, his or her.
I have not met anyone, but there is a documentary on Netflix. I don't know how many of you guys watch Netflix, but there is a documentary on Netflix named Surviving Death. In that documentary, the first episode was about a couple of people who had near-death experiences. My wife Manasi saw that episode, and she said she had goosebumps, and she pleaded me to watch that episode. And she said that see if you can relate to any of that. And when I saw that first episode itself, I told her that I can relate to each and everything that that lady. One of the ladies, I think she had a skiing accident and she had to be given CPR, and she told her what she experienced. I could relate to many of those things, and I actually had goosebumps watching that. So that is the only thing that I have seen or heard about such things.
I can tell you from my personal experience, my
Sure.
own.
Sure.
I used to travel to Africa many times,
Okay.
and West Africa, particularly Ghana and Nigeria.
Hmm.
And there are some strange diseases there.
Okay.
And one of them I got, we still don't know what was it. It was suspected cerebral malaria.
Okay.
And I nearly died actually in another suburban hospital in Washington area. And we still don't know what I got. I don't know how I recovered. Somebody said that, doctor said that he gave me anti-malaria dose. But I don't believe that because I had taken anti-malaria pills, which were given to us from the World Bank. And so what I got, and I had a seizure also. I lost consciousness. And some doctors suspected that I have herpes in the throat. So basically, diagnosis was unknown. I still don't know how I survived. And I don't know if something happens again, will I? This is one experience, and someday I will talk with you on the phone.
Sure.
Another one I know who is in our community, whose heart had stopped for 2.5 minutes. And I was in the hospital near him, and he survived. We still don't know what happened to him. And I asked his surgeon, well, what happened? He said it just God's support. He said it's miracle. And I will tell you the third story, who is a nephew of mine. He had a very serious car accident at midnight. He was young. He was not wearing seat belt. A very big person, and he hit his roof on the top of the car. He hit a pole, and he was admitted to a hospital in Virginia. He had several spinal surgeries, something like 7 that I know. And afterward, I asked his doctor on Thanksgiving night. His name is, I will tell you his name. He's a neurosurgeon in Innova on Gallows Road. So I asked him, Dr. Hamilton, Thanks to you, and it's all because of you that he survived. And you know what was doctor's response? Surgeon said, no, it's not me, but it's him, actually. So I have a feeling is that I have not read your book, but I have read reviews of your book on the Amazon. There is one very long review by somebody, which is very well reviewed book. And after reading that review, I felt that you just had a miracle. I don't think there is any medical answer to it. That's my view. My
Medically,
daughter, I will tell
yeah.
you, my daughter was on the front line of infectious disease in COVID, at the peak of the COVID.
Mhm.
I told her story, your story today. And she said it's just one of the few cases who survived it.
Definitely.
Not
There
many
is
have
no,
survived like this.
yes, there is no medical answer. Medically, I was done at that time. As you know, I mean, I said being on dialysis, my liver enzymes were off the roof, having a stroke and a ventilator on. So, in fact, one of people who were related to me, she actually had a conversation with Manasi at that time, and she was seeing all this suffering at that time, all this huge number of COVID cases. She herself is a pulmonologist. She told her to pull the plug. He said, "Why are you keeping him awake? Why are you keeping him alive?" And she said, "If he wakes up, he's not going to be the same person. He's not going to have a good life. Just pull the plug." But thankfully,
Yeah,
I
that's
recovered.
a great thing she did it.
Yeah, she did not do any of that. And, I'll tell you one thing, like, uh, the message that I want to give in this book is one of positivity. Like when I woke up in the hospital, I couldn't speak a word. I couldn't read anything that was coming on the TV screen or whatever. I couldn't move my hands. I had tubes all over me. Um, and it was very depressing. I can admit to you. I thought that my life is done. I will never be able to talk again. I had lost my voice. I will never be able to walk again, and I will never be able to work again. Then what's the point? But then, um, after, sometime towards the end of May or sometime in June, I met my wife. She used to come daily to the hospital at that time. I used to see her face. She used to smile at me, talk to me. That gave me hope. She kept telling me, "You will be fine. You will be fine." And just those words falling on my ears, they gave me the will to fight, to try to get better, and you know, that's about it. That's all you need. Someone to support you, someone to give you
Yeah,
encouragement,
absolutely right. Yeah.
positivity. Yeah, positivity.
Thank you for your experience.
No problem. I would. That's the reason. The book is a message. That's the reason we decided to write it, to give a message to our kids, everyone's kids. We know one of our neighbors. They have twin boys who are 12 years old. They told us that they finished reading the book in 2 days. When 12-year-old boys, they couldn't keep the book down, we were touched. That's what we want to hear from the younger kids also. That the
Absolutely.
story, yeah, the message reaches out to people of all ages, not only grown-up people, but kids also.
Yes. Thank you. I'll call you sometime.
Yeah, please feel free.
So I'm not sure, Rohan. Can you put down your phone number also in that chat box? And I will be sending the recording along with the your contact information, okay, to people. Okay.
Rohan, can I ask you one question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, my husband,
Hi.
Vivek Date,
Yeah,
1 minute, he's here right now.
yeah, sure.
I don't know what's going
It's
on.
okay. Never mind. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
You have to restart
okay.
your video.
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
So
here
both
I
of
am.
us you can
Okay.
see. So he has IPF, if you have heard about
Pulmonary fibrosis.
idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis.
Yeah. Oh, pulmonary fibrosis. Okay.
Yes, and that has brought down my capacity of lung to about 62%.
Come in the video.
But I am stable.
Okay. Yeah.
So one thing I have done, I made sure that I don't come in contact with people whereby I run the risk of catching infection. And last 3 years, I have completely managed to stay away from that,
From
COVID.
But my questions to you were, now he just went out for a 2 mile walk. And he needs supplemental oxygen when he is walking.
Daytime as well as night.
At night. So with that reduced capacity of 46%,
Not
do you
46.
need any, no, but for
For
him,
you, huh?
do you need any
oxygen
supplement?
supplement?
No, actually, I don't need oxygen supplement at all. Oxygen is when your blood oxygen level drops down below
Yes.
a certain level. So when I was about to get out of rehab, they were doing the PFT and everything, all those tests.
Monitoring, yes.
Yeah, at that time I told you, and my lung capacity was still 33%.
Oh.
And I will tell you one thing. I was blessed to have excellent rehab doctors also. When my first day of therapy was about to start, rehab therapy, they told me that you will be here for about 3 weeks or so. Try to give all your effort. By the time you are about to go from here, try to see if your respiratory system gets better, your pulmonary function. If absolutely you need it, we will send an oxygen cylinder with you to your home, but try to do your best because the cases are going high. As you remember, around June, July,
Yes.
the cases were exploding. They told me, we have a shortage of oxygen cylinders.
Yes.
We cannot guarantee you. Give your best effort in your rehab. That's what I did. I was still struggling with the shortness of breath, but I passed my PFT at the time of discharge.
Okay.
And they said, unfortunately, you don't qualify to get an oxygen cylinder, so you are free to go without one.
That's good.
I actually didn't realize the significance of that at that time. But
I think your young age helps you.
Yes, exactly.
Do that.
Yeah, the age factor was an important factor.
Big in your favor.
And case of pulmonary fibrosis, the lungs capacity is permanently down. It cannot come back.
Exactly. That is the thing. This itself right now is a topic of research. They are doing research on me. They are trying some medication which is available in the market but not on COVID patients. I'm part of a trial for that also, antifibrosis medication.
I am on one and it is working very well for me.
It is working for you.
But that medication does not reverse or does not
the damage.
Probably it's not going to reverse, but it's going to keep it stable.
It slows down. And that benefit alone is so significant.
And initially he was at under Innova Fairfax. Now he's under Stanford.
Now we are in California.
Yeah.
And they are taking care of me very well. So this
But your story is amazing. I mean, yours and your wife's courage is just, unparalleled. Fantastic. And all our blessings to you.
Thank you. Thank you. She is right here with me. I'd like to bring her on camera.
Hi guys. I'm
Hello.
sorry.
Hello.
She was busy.
Story.
Yeah, my sitter left abruptly, so sorry. I didn't have coverage for the kids. Sorry, Shrikant Kaka.
No, no problem. Yeah. Okay, but it's nice to see you. And again, you have all the credit, for the Rohan's recovery. The blessings from others, but the courage that you showed is just amazing.
Thank you. No, I had all of you, all of your prayers. I had an amazing support system, so that helped tremendously.
So Manasi, one of the participants, Sachin,
Mhm.
he is a friend of Bhushan's also. He asked a question for you.
Okay.
This is in the chat. Maybe you want to give your perspective.
I understand.
How did you come up with the right answer every time when you had to take tough decisions, basically?
Well, first of all, hi Sachin. Thanks for the question. I don't know if I can give the exact right answer, but I can tell you what I did. I just went with my gut feeling as to what I need to do for Rohan. Most of the times, that feeling was actually against what the medical professionals were telling me to do. So, but I still went with what I felt was right at that time for Rohan. And yes, it was pretty tough. I was not sure if I'm making the right decision. Yes, luckily it turned out to be the right one. But all I would say is just go with your gut feeling at that time, whatever it is. And I think the divine guided me better.
Are you planning to write your own book through this experience, about this experience?
Meaning another book in addition to this one?
Yeah. Is this the book you wrote as well, or he wrote it?
No, so both of us wrote it actually. So when you
Okay.
read the book, it is from my perspective as well as to
As
what
well?
was going
Okay.
on.
Okay.
Yeah, so you know what was going on when Rohan was in the hospital. Then I tried some healing methods for Rohan. So I have written about that, what we used,
Oh, okay.
and how it helped. I used I had a healer in India who I actually did not know earlier. I got to know about her through my aunt, and now she has become my lifelong healer. So I have written about her as well.
Okay.
So there were times where really I used to call her first before calling the hospital to ask about Rohan, and that experience was just amazing. I mean, until now, I have just seen it in movies where they tell you certain things that this is what is going to happen, but I experienced it. So I have written about that as well.
Okay. I haven't read the book yet, and I'm planning to read it, but I have the email, so I might respond to you once I'm done reading. Definitely.
Please do,
Yes.
and please let us know. We would love to know your feedback, please.
I have recommended him to make the book in an audio form, audiobook in his own voice, or either one of you. So it will be even more profitable for you guys.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, we can definitely think about that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's a wonderful idea. I don't
And
have that great voice, but maybe I can get it done by someone.
who cares about the voice? It's like people who cannot read, it's easier for them to listen to.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, we can speak with the publisher and see if it can be done in the audio form.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's like a big thing next to the library.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
So this session is recorded and I'll share it with everyone. Okay. If there are no more questions, then we can end the session. Yeah, okay.
And
but
please share the book with your friends, family. I think it's a great story a great message for everyone, a message of hope and positivity, and a message of courage for her, especially.
And please let us know what you think.
Very nice of you.
What I would like to ask is, how has this affected your relationship or strengthened your relationship?
That's a good question, actually. No, thank you for the question. So one thing, definitely, we both realized that, all those small fights at the end of the day, that they don't matter. Because, until then, like any couple, of course, we had fights, and sometimes when you are angry, you say certain things, and then when something goes wrong, you regret those. So I had those moments too, because many times when it comes to kids, or, with any issues, sometimes I used to say, oh, you know what? I mean, I don't want to live with you, or, we would have a fight and say, okay, I don't want to talk. But then when Rohan was in the hospital, that was the one thing that I truly realized, that all those things, they really don't matter, because when someone that you love so dearly is not well, and then when there is even a slight chance of that person not coming back, it really hits you hard. So yeah, our fights have gone down for sure. I can't say they have stopped, but I think it has gotten better.
I'm sure you must be the decision maker now, Vicky, too.
That hasn't changed.
So that hasn't changed. So yes, it has remained the same.
Since you have made all the right decisions about him, he must be real. You must be his decision maker.
Yeah, I mean, I try to tell him that, no, jokes apart, but yes, absolutely. One thing I definitely realized is, at the end of the day, your family matters, your loved ones matter the most. So just be there for them all the time.
Correct. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rohan and Manasi, for the session. It's I was hoping more people will attend, but at least I will send the recording to everyone, and so there will be more visibility of what you, talked about, and the people will read your book more often. Read
I
that.
have
Thank you so much.
I have one last question. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Do you feel like that there, of course, there was some divine power or Devi Shakti which was guiding you to make those decisions? I don't think I would be able to do that if the medical community is advising you something and you went right against it because you are following your gut instinct, or there was some Shakti guiding you. So, do you, Rohan, feel now that you came out of this because there is some bigger purpose or something for which you almost went beyond and then you came back? So, do you feel that, there is something, a greater role that you are going to be called upon to play, or, you have been called upon to play?
I truly do. I do believe that there must be a reason why the divine helped me in those circumstances. The divine gave her the strength to take those decisions, and gave me the strength to deal with it, not only physically but mentally as well. So and as I said before, we have to follow the path of righteousness, do the right thing, be true to yourself, be true to people around you, be honest, and then you may not reap the benefits of it, but your future generations, your kids, grandkids, they might reap the benefits of it for sure. So maybe my parents, my grandparents, her parents, her grandparents, they did things the right way. So, we reap the benefits, the fruits of those things. So it all passes down.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Anjan Doshi, where are you from?
Actually, I'm from Florida and I'm Anjan's mom. I'm using his iPad. I'm Girija Joshi.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you, Rohan and Manasi. And we'll end the session.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shrikant Kaka.
Thank you, Manasi.